Welcome back to our channel, Zoland Media. Today's in this video, we will discuss ZRA and PDF Zoland in Chin State. PDF Zoland's pivotal confrontation with ZRA in Chin State, June 2025. The intensifying conflict between the Zomi Revolutionary Army, ZRA, and PDF Zoland in northern Chin State entered a volatile new chapter in early June 2025. One of the most consequential incidents took place in Tonzong Township, marking a dramatic escalation in hostilities between these two Chin armed groups. On June 5th, clashes broke out near Tonzong Town between ZRA units and fighters affiliated with the People's Defense Force, PDF Zoland. The confrontation resulted in the deaths of at least 5 resistance fighters aligned with PDF Zoland. Local sources and affiliated civil society groups confirmed that the village of Nezan was engulfed in flames during the aftermath. Residents of Nezan described scenes of terror as ZRA forces allegedly set fire to homes, forcing civilians to flee. Some villagers reportedly took refuge inside a church during the attack, while others recounted how elderly residents were forcibly removed from their homes before the buildings were torched. The ZRA later issued a statement defending its actions. The group claimed its operation was a defensive measure intended to protect Zomi communities from what it described as provocations by resistance forces under foreign influence. They denied deliberately targeting civilians and framed the burning of Nezan as an unfortunate outcome of battlefield chaos. However, this narrative was promptly rejected by PDF Zoland and its close allies, including the Chin National Army, CNA, and the CDF Tonzong, who characterized the assault as an unprovoked act of aggression against Chin resistance unity. The incident drew sharp condemnation from these allied forces, who vowed that continued aggression would not be tolerated. Although no significant territorial changes have been reported following the Nezan assault, the psychological impact on the local population and resistance morale has been substantial. Many residents of Nezan and nearby areas have since fled, taking shelter in Tonzong and makeshift refugee spaces, adding to the region's growing humanitarian crisis. The ZRA's tactics in this latest episode are indicative of a broader shift in their operational approach. The group has increasingly framed its confrontations with PDF Zoland as a defensive crusade to protect Zomi identity from dilution by what it perceives as externally manipulated Chin resistance elements. However, these justifications have failed to convince many within Chin civil society and among international observers. This latest attack follows a worrying trend. Just 2 months earlier, in April 2025, ZRA forces burned more than 80 houses in Noksong village in what PDF-aligned groups described as a brutal attempt to sabotage Chin resistance infrastructure. Human rights groups and observers monitoring the Myanmar conflict have roundly condemned ZRA's actions. They have insisted that no armed group, regardless of its ideological stance, should engage in attacks that harm civilians or destroy livelihoods. The ongoing intra-Chin confrontations signal a deepening fracture within the broader anti-junta resistance movement, with ZRA increasingly positioning itself in direct opposition to Chin forces aligned with the National Unity Government, NUG. In the face of these provocations, PDF Zoland has not remained passive. The group has responded to the rising threat by significantly stepping up its preparedness and internal capacity. While exact details of training sessions within Chin State remain scarce, various indicators suggest a strategic push toward enhanced military readiness. Nationally, training camps run under the Ministry of Defense of the NUG are undergoing significant improvements in areas such as battlefield coordination, leadership cultivation, and resistance discipline. Even though these programs are primarily reported in central and southern Myanmar, the model they represent is being mirrored across different PDF chapters, including PDF Zoland. PDF Zoland has faced repeated attacks from ZRA forces in prior years, particularly around May and June, on camps near the India-Myanmar border. These experiences have taught valuable lessons. In 2025, PDF Zoland is focusing on fortifying its camps, ramping up recruitment efforts, and accelerating cadre-level training, with an emphasis on defensive tactics and resistance management. Although specifics of new training cycles have not been leaked, The rapid increase in field activity and better coordination with members of the Chin Brotherhood Alliance strongly indicates that PDF Zoland is undergoing an organized and systematic campaign to improve its war readiness. The organization's broader strategic plan involves a multi-pronged approach to both reclaiming lost ground and halting further ZRA advances. Central to this strategy is the strengthening of defensive outposts in critical corridors, particularly in Tonzang and Tedim. Camps in these areas are now heavily reinforced, equipped with perimeter fortifications, early warning systems, and field camouflage meant to prevent ambushes. Complementing these static defenses are mobile patrol units that work closely with CNA and CDF Tonzang operatives. These patrols focus on intercepting ZRA infiltration routes and aim to prevent civilian areas from becoming battlegrounds. Additionally, PDF Zoland is actively building intelligence networks through grassroots engagement by collaborating with village leaders and even some former ZRA sympathizers disillusioned by the group's tactics. PDF Zoland has improved its capacity to track enemy movements and anticipate attacks. Perhaps one of the more innovative aspects of PDF Zoland's campaign is its open appeal to the rank-and-file fighters within ZRA. The group has issued public calls for lower-tier ZRA combatants to abandon their posts and integrate into the broader resistance framework. These appeals include offers of amnesty, reintegration programs, and a promise of a shared vision for Chin State's liberation. This psychological warfare aims to fragment ZRA's internal cohesion and sow distrust among its leadership. Amid these military developments, the humanitarian cost of the conflict continues to mount. The burning of Nazan has displaced scores of families, many of whom are now living in precarious conditions. Churches and schools in Tonzang have been transformed into temporary shelters, but resources remain critically low. Local civil society organizations have sounded the alarm, appealing for international assistance to prevent food shortages, disease outbreaks, and further destabilization. PDF Zoland has attempted to fill this gap, deploying emergency medical teams, providing limited rations, and offering moral support to survivors. These efforts serve a dual purpose. They meet an urgent humanitarian need, while also strengthening the group's standing among the local population. In a battle not just for territory, but also for hearts and minds, this civilian outreach could be vital to PDF Zoland's long-term legitimacy. Looking forward, the trajectory of this conflict remains fraught with uncertainty. The repeated pattern of violent engagements suggests a high risk of renewed raids in the coming weeks. PDF Zoland will need to maintain heightened alertness and defensive discipline to prevent further losses, particularly in areas where civilians live alongside PDF infrastructure. There is currently no indication that ZRA is willing to enter ceasefire negotiations. The group continues to frame its operations as defensive, and its public messaging avoids conciliatory language. PDF Zoland, while open to dialogue in theory, is at present more focused on pressuring ZRA militarily and politically. However, coordination among Chin resistance allies continues to strengthen. Joint operations and shared intelligence with CNA and CDF Tonzang have deepened, and there is now widespread agreement that ZRA's actions undermine Chin unity and resistance credibility. The strategic significance of the Tonzang-Tedim corridor cannot be overstated. Whoever controls this route will control a key axis of communication and logistics in northern Chin State. PDF Zoland's objective is clear. Establish firm control over this corridor, eliminate ZRA presence, and ensure the region becomes a platform for broader anti-junta governance initiatives. In the immediate term. Thank you for watching. Please do share this video and don't forget to subscribe to Zoland Media.